paid advertisements are a widely used and often highly effective way to grow website traffic for your startup. It's also a really great way to lose money if you don't do it right. As founders, how do we know when paid ads are actually working for our business? It's really important to set baseline metrics and understand what you need to hit in order to properly execute on a profitable paid advertising strategy. When using paid ads, you may be getting a lot of customers, but how do you know if you're getting enough customers and retaining those customers for long enough to actually make it a profitable endeavor for your company? It's really important to understand your metrics and really understand the targets that you have to hit with the paid advertising strategy to make sure that you're overall profitable when implementing it. In this video, we're gonna be talking about the metrics that you need to look at in order to ensure that you're gonna be running and executing a profitable paid ad strategy. I'll be using an Excel sheet that I'll be posting a link to. It comes with a blog post that we wrote a couple of weeks back, and it's an Excel sheet that you guys can utilize and kind of follow along with and use as a reference whenever you're implementing your own paid advertising strategies. As always, please don't forget to subscribe to the video, hit the thumbs up button. Once you subscribe, just leave a comment down below. We'll reply to all the comments of everybody that subscribed. And if you found the video useful, please share it, post it on social media. We'll be sure to reply to your post and tag you in it as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna jump into an Excel doc now and we'll start going through this together in an example. So I'm in the paid ads ROI calculator document. Hopefully you guys are able to follow along here. You can download this sheet from the blog post that I'll reference in the description of the video. So looking at the sheet, you have a couple of green cells here, and the green cells you'll notice are just hard-coded values. So you can see up here at the top that there's no formulas attached, and these are the inputs that you're really gonna wanna focus in on to determine if you're running a profitable paid advertising strategy. So just to walk through how the document works, the first one is a budget for paid ads. I like to think of these things in terms of months. So in this case, we're assuming that we have a monthly budget of $5,000 for our paid ads. And it's worth noting on the front end that it doesn't matter what types of paid ads you're using for this analysis. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram. It all works, generally speaking, the same way. So I've got my budget for paid ads. We've already said that this is going to be $5,000. And then the next thing that we have to determine is our cost per click. So you can determine a cost per click on your paid ad strategy, usually by just going onto the platform that you're going to be leveraging the paid ads with. So if you're using Facebook ads, for example, you can just go onto Facebook. You can pretend like you're about to set up a paid ad campaign, and you can put in the keywords that you want to use for the campaign, and it'll usually tell you what a cost per click would be for those keywords. This input should be relatively easy to find. It's also something that you really don't have a lot of control over, unfortunately. You can try to use different keywords to try to get that cost per click down, but it's something that is really just, you're gonna have to take whatever the cost per click is, generally speaking. So the math here is that you take your budget for your paid ads and divide that by your cost per click. In this example, we're saying that the cost per click is $2.50. And what that will do is it'll derive the number of website visits that a budget should get you. So in this case, we have $5,000. Our cost per click is $2.50. 5,000 divided by 250 gets you 2,000 paid web sessions. So once you've got those paid web sessions calculated, the next thing that we need to determine is the conversion rate for those paid ads. So if you assume in this case that we can convert from these 2,000 people that come to our website, 3% of them, theoretically, we should get 60 new customers that come specifically from this particular paid ad campaign in this month. This is something that you can research if you've never done paid ads before and try to determine what a average conversion rate is for your industry or for the type of customer that you're going after. But generally, you're just going to have to do some trial and error here. What I like to do is spend just a little bit of money on paid ads, like maybe have an ad budget of $100 or something like that, and try to see if you can get anybody to click to get early data on what a conversion rate might be for your paid ad campaign. But here, Google's your best friend if you're just starting out. Try to figure out what a realistic conversion rate could be. This is something that you can try to optimize over time and work with to try to get that conversion rate up as high as possible. But in this case, we're just going to use that 3%. So we're assuming that of these 2,000 visitors that we get, we can convert 3% of them. That means 60 new customers. The next set of inputs that we can leverage here are the inputs that are specific to your business. So in this case, we can say revenue per customer per month. So let's say that we're a subscription company and we charge $10 per month for access to our subscription. Well, this is really easy in that scenario because it's just $10 is the amount that we charge for a subscription. So the revenue per customer per month is $10. It can be a little bit more tricky for companies that aren't subscriptions like e-commerce, in which case you might want to do an average order per month or an average order value per month, or try to understand just on average for any given customer on any given month, how much you typically make from them. This is something that you have direct control over. You can always charge more to try to get more out of your customers on a monthly basis. The second thing that we're going to need to determine is the monthly churn. So on average, what percentage of our customer base do we lose every single month? This is, again, something that we really don't have a ton of control over. It's something that we can try to optimize over time, implement strategies to get that monthly churn down. But generally speaking, the churn rate is going to be something that we don't have direct control over, in that we can just input more of X and then churn rate will go down 1-to-1 or something like that. It's something that we can optimize, but this is something that we have less control over. And then the third input that we're going to need to determine is the gross profit. So the profit per customer. So if you're, for example, like a SaaS company and you're charging a monthly fee for access to your platform, or you're charging for a subscription to a software that you've created, then your gross profit is going to be really, really high because it doesn't cost you a lot of money to service a new customer. Versus if you're an e-commerce platform or you create your own product or something like that, you might have pretty high product costs. So you might have 50% of the revenue that you get from the customer, 50% of that goes into the product itself, which means you only net about half of that. So you're going to want to input what your gross profit is here, and that'll help you determine the actual cash or the actual profit that you're getting from each customer. What these three inputs are going to determine is the lifetime value of that customer. So what this is doing is it's taking your revenue per customer per month and it's dividing that by your monthly churn. What this is doing is it's trying to determine how long you're likely to keep that customer. So in this case, if my monthly churn is 7%, then I could do 1 divided by the 7%. And it's saying that essentially we keep our customers on average around 14 months before they leave us. The average customer will stick with us for around 14 months. So if you get $10 a month, then how long are you going to get that $10 a month on average? That's what this churn rate is trying to determine. And then the gross profit percentage is trying to determine how much of that is actual profit. If, for example, I'm spending 50% of my revenue on cost, then my gross profit is actually going to be much, much lower. And that could really have a big impact on the profitability of my paid ads campaign. In this case, we're just assuming a 7% monthly churn, 80% gross profit, and a $10 per month revenue per customer per month. So the next thing that we need to calculate is the cost to acquire a customer for paid ads. For paid ads, I think this number is relatively easy to calculate. It's just the budget that you spent that month divided by the number of customers that you've gotten in that month. So in this case, I spent $5,000. I got 60 customers. 5,000 divided by 60 means that every customer cost me around $83.33 to acquire. I need to compare that now to the lifetime value of that customer. So in this case, since we keep our customers on average for around 14 months and that we have an 80% gross profit margin, then my average lifetime value of that customer, or the profit that I get over the lifetime of that customer, is $114.29. In this case, we're getting a profit of around $30.95 per customer. So we're running a profitable paid ad campaign. I can see what tweaking certain inputs would do to enhance the profit or detract from the profit of this campaign. So for example, if I charge $15 per month, then I can see that I'm way more profitable. Now I'm making about $88 per customer that I acquire off of this campaign. But if I increase my price, my conversion rate's probably going to suffer. So if I say that I increase my price, but then my conversion rate goes down, am I better off or am I worse off? Well, in this case, it turns out that we're better off. So if I think that I can hit these inputs, then that may be the right move for this campaign. I can also determine which inputs the model is the most sensitive to. So for example, let's say that my churn rate isn't 7%. Let's say it's 8%. That had a pretty drastic impact. If I say it's 9%, and we're barely profitable at this point. So at this point, I understand if it's a 10%, then I'm not even profitable. So it's really easy to understand that churn rate can have a really, really big impact on the profitability of a paid ad campaign. So in this case, I've determined that monthly churn rate is a really big factor in determining the profitability of a paid ad campaign. So that may be something that I really want to spend a lot of time and energy focusing on to try to get that churn rate as low as possible. If I make it 3%, for example, I need to expand this to see, but I'm very, very profitable on the paid ad campaign. But generally, the helpful thing to do here is to just look at these green cells, look at these inputs, determine which ones you have direct impact over, or the things that you can try to optimize and work on. In this case, the things that we have direct control over are budget for paid ads and the revenue per customer per month. Those are things that we can change basically at any time. One of the things that we can't change really is the cost per click. That's something that's just a derivative of the keywords that we're using. But some of the things that we can optimize over time and we can spend a lot of time and energy on to make better are things like our conversion rates and our monthly churn, and to an extent, our gross profit. These are things that we can work on over time, but it's not like flipping a light switch like it is with our paid ads budget or our revenue per customer per month, where we can just make one change very, very easily. These are things that require a lot of strategy, a lot of time, and a lot of attention to optimizing. So there you have it. Those are the metrics that you need to look at. Those are the things that you need to understand whenever you're running a paid advertising strategy. Hopefully you guys found this useful. Again, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Share the content with people that you think could find it valuable, useful. It really helps us grow the channel. And as always, we really appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for next week. We'll be posting another video and look forward to seeing everybody then.